Hey, it is Lanissa with my homegirl Kate, and we are coming at you with another episode of What's Hot and What's Not. And today, what is hot is the temperature. It is smack dab in the middle of summer and it is super hot outside. So, we wanted to talk to you about how to keep your cool when it heats up. So, today, what is hot is keeping your cool under pressure. There are so many times, if you've been in the field for any length of time, there are so many times that it would be so easy to lose your cool. Snafus happen, things happen, whether that is technological issues, whether that is traffic, mistakes happen, customers might be mean to you or yell at you. I have so many stories, Kate, I'm sure that you do too. I don't even know where to begin. Competitors that steal your samples, competitors that take credit for your breakfast, getting stuck in traffic, being late for lunches that don't get delivered because for whatever reason there's a glitch in the scheduling or who knows what, but there's just so many examples. And so when those things happen, and if you've been in the field any length of time, they have happened to you, and if not, they will happen to you. So how do you keep your cool? So Kate, I would love to hear from you on this because I know you have some great stories to share with us.
Oh man, isn't it sad to have so many stories to share about needing to keep my cool under pressure? I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But I mean, one of the most common scenarios for me, at least, and maybe I'm just cursed, was technology not working in the moment, right? So sometimes if you've got like a lunch meeting, all the staff's already eating, everybody's sitting in their little semicircle, the door's locked, lights are off, they're ready for your presentation. And all of a sudden, the projector just decides it's not going to project onto the wall. It's so frustrating in that moment. And you feel like all eyes are on you. I can feel the heat rising in my face. And it's like, what am I going to do? Right? Because maybe you had some really important talking points that need that visual aid. So for me to stay cool, I'm always trying to think, well, what's the next best option? What's the next best plan B? Because sometimes the optimal plan is just not going to happen, and you got to know when to call it and just, calling it and staying positive about it and going with that next best plan B. Maybe that's you just can show it on your laptop or your iPad for those important things only. Maybe you can pass it around, just going with that next best plan B. And I have found that the calmer and cooler that I would stay under pressure, the less impact it seemed to have on my credibility with the office. So if there was a technology problem, I try to fix the issue, can't fix the issue, apologize for the issue, and just keep going. I mean, just keep going. Try to keep yourself from getting too emotional about it, or just saying, well, optimal plan is not going to happen. I'm just going to take a mental health day and go home. That's never the next best plan. But that seemed to be always one of my biggest snafus would be a technology problem. So do what you can to prepare. And when the problem happens, stay calm, stay cool, keep a smile on your face, apologize, try your best to fix the problem, and then go to that next best plan B. And everybody, especially if they have their lunch and they're eating it, they're pretty flexible. They'll go with you to the next best plan B.
Yeah, I have found in my experience, whether it's been a traffic jam and I'm going to be late, as long as I have prepared as best I can and I am communicating with my customers, that they have always given me a lot of grace.
Yes. Yeah.
You show up with the wrong lunch order because the restaurant got it wrong, or you show up at the restaurant and lo and behold, they don't have your lunch order and you've got to go back to plan B. And those things are super frustrating. But I have found that if I throw a little hissy fit to the restaurant, they're going to take longer to get your lunch ready. So it's important to give them some grace. But I've also found as long as I'm communicating with the office is what's happening, that they have been kind enough to give me some grace as well, even though they may be frustrated too. If I keep a smile on my face, take a deep breath, stay calm, and communicate, thankfully, most people have given me grace as well. Even when I'm dealing with a really, really angry doctor who's been mean or unkind, if I just continue to just kind of nod and keep my cool and not lose my temper, then that seems to help calm them down. And even if it doesn't, I can walk out of that room and recognize that, you know what, that may have been really uncomfortable, but for whatever reason, that was not about me. And I don't have to take that into my soul, and I can leave that there in that room and I can walk away from it. But if I get angry and I escalate and then I start exchanging words, that's going to go no place good, not for me personally, not for me professionally. So I have found that keeping cool when the heat turns up is definitely very, very hot. What is not hot is melting down in the heat. So do you have any great examples of melting down?
I would like to say that I've never melted down in front of them, maybe later in the car, on the phone to my counterpart, right? But I've seen, I mean, like you mentioned earlier about maybe a doctor having that bad day and taking out all their frustrations on you. That's a prime example of what it looks like to melt down when there's high pressure, right? And it's hard sometimes. Sometimes our bodies have like a physiological response to stress. Maybe your face gets red. You might get like that knot in the back of your throat, pit in your stomach, whatever it is, you know, just taking those deep breaths so that you're not, or your voice gets shaky, your hands might get shaky. Try your best to just keep breathing. Maybe if you need to take a quick break to the restroom real quick to keep going. But I have not seen, I don't think I've melted down, and I don't think I've seen anyone melt down, but I've seen clients melt down. I've seen office staff melt down. They've all seen patients melt down. And I mean, my own toddler melts down. It's not fun for anyone. So whenever the pressure is high, you really can control a lot of the outcome by just doing what's hot, which is staying really cool and as calm and collected as you can be. Do you have any meltdown stories?
I don't necessarily have a full-on meltdown, but at one point I was getting really sick in an office, and I did have to excuse myself to the restroom, and they could tell by the look on my face that I was getting really sick, and I actually ended up as an adult getting chickenpox.
What?
Isn't that crazy? And
that's random.
At the time, none of us knew it was chickenpox, but I was feeling like I was going to pass out. And so I had to excuse myself to the restroom. And then I didn't come out for a while because I kept thinking, I can't come out. I can't stand up. I'm going to pass out.
Yeah.
So they were sweet enough to come knock on the door, check on me. Thankfully, I'm in a doctor's office. So all the nurses come in, they give me cold towels, they cool me off. My counterpart offers to drive me home. So I guess that might've been like a actual, like literal meltdown.
That was like a out of control meltdown.
Yes. And they were all sweet enough to like take care of me and, you know, get me home taken care of the next day.
Well, it sounds like you stayed cool during your meltdown. Your body was melting down, but you stayed as calm and collected as you could. And that's why everybody was very concerned about you.
Yeah, it was super sweet. But so the way I handled it was just to try to stay polite, keep a smile on my face, politely excuse myself, go to the restroom. They figured out pretty quickly something was really wrong because I was out of character for me.
Right.
And everybody kind of got a good laugh when in my adult years, I ended up with chickenpox. But that really explained my sudden onset of, whew, I'm not feeling very well.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's probably one of my biggest meltdowns. Lots of different snafus, but that was one of my like, oh, I probably was having like an actual physical meltdown.
Right. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
And to handle that with grace and poise, that's next level.
Well, I had the support of a really, really sweet, gracious office and some helpful counterparts. So I can't take all the credit for that one, but yeah. So all of that to say, those things happen, they are going to happen. And so when they do, what is hot is keeping your cool. And if you need to go to the restroom to take a little break, take a deep breath, smile. There's something about
Yes.
keeping a smile on your face that not only keeps you calm and encouraged and keeps you positive, it keeps those around you positive and calm and encouraged. So that is what's hot, is keeping your cool, and keep your cool in these hot days of summer. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.